Buonasera. Hi, everyone. This is Esther.
You wouldn't believe what we've been doing the last 20 minutes. It's just been unbelievable. We made it by 10 seconds.
We made it to
Oh,
the
I'm
live,
Alfred, by
but
the way.
but they may be watching on the replay. We just got interviewed by Charles, who is the president of the American Italian Federation of the Southeast. I hope I got that title not right, but if not, he'll be on in just a few minutes to talk about what he's doing here in Sicily and also all the great work that he's doing in New Orleans. And he just interviewed us to be on his program in New Orleans. He's on ABC and also PBS. So it was very exciting. We talked about the hero Salvatore Catalano, who we've talked about before, and also about life here in Sicily. So Alfred has his vodka. I didn't even get a chance to get my glass of wine yet.
Does that mean I'll have to drink 2 glasses myself? Make up for the difference? I don't know. The weather's been great here, people. It was high 70s today. High 70s today. Now it's a little offshore breeze, cooling off. But guess what? I had my AC on last 2 days.
Etna's been erupting.
Yep, of course.
We got our first mulberries and cherries. So things are good. Things are moving along here. And we're going to be in Palermo for our June tour. But before we get Charles to come on here and talk about all the great work that he's been doing, we have a big tour coming in May of 2023. It's going to be the grand tour. We're going to do about 17 days with an option to go home after the 10th day. But let me tell you, you will not want to go home. Trust me. We're going to be over here on the East Coast in Taormina, Ortigia, also Catania, all the Etna towns. The Etna Day is a very popular one. And we're going to go to the Flower Festival in Noto. And then when we do all those fun things over here, of course, a vineyard visit, a cooking demo, we are going to go be based out of Avola and travel to Agrigento, Pachino, Mazzamemi, of course. Sicily is an open museum, so plenty to see. And if you're with us, it's going to be a feast for your senses because the foods that we always have lined up for our tours, people leave going, oh, that was the best, ... That was the best, ... That was the best, ... they've ever had here in Sicily.
We're taking the mini bus, and that holds 16 people. Plus the driver, plus Esther, plus the guide, 16 people. We announced it a week ago today. We already have 7 reservations. 7 people have already reserved their place with Esther. So once we get it up, okay, it'll sell out. So if you have any interest about coming, and this is not a 10-day tour. This could be a great tour, and if you like it, you're not going to like it. You're going to love it. So give her a buzz, message her. She'll hold a place for you. And we're not asking for any money at this time either. Am I correct in saying that?
And then we have our October tour, but I'm not going to go into it. www.youmeetinsicily.com is our October tour. What else, honey?
Well, the mafia has been pretty active. Oof. Active getting in jail. They've been getting busted left and right and
front
center.
Page everywhere.
Oh my God. And I think it's because yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the assassination of the judge, right?
Yeah. Well, they've been really at them for a long time, but it's great.
And they're really following the money, and they're confiscating the money. What they do is they confiscate the money, they confiscate the house, they confiscate everything, and they turn that money back in to the state to be used for further investigations. So every day it's like another ending tidal wave of people getting arrested right now. It's just amazing.
One of the good things to see is sometimes some of the land that's seized by the mafia, the state turns around and gives it back to the people. Maybe they're some kind of a farm, and so the produce from there they give to the people of Sicily. So that's I really like that notion of confiscating from the mafia and giving it back to the people of Sicily.
When the economic times are tough, and I've said this for many years, okay, when the economic times are tough and unemployment is high, okay, when it is high, that is perfect recruiting time to be muscle for the mafia, okay? Every inner city now has got little cells, so to speak, selling drugs, doing all sorts of, petty type of crime. And this is the time. If people were working, if the young were working, if they had valid jobs, perhaps we wouldn't have this problem. And this is going to be very
Well, it's the
important for this
mentality, Al.
for the
It's the
elections coming up.
mentality. Yeah.
For the elections coming up, this is a huge issue
Well,
here.
it's a set of mentality. All right. Should we have Charles come on?
Sure. Let's say hi to a couple people first.
Why don't you go and let me say hello? And I
Okay,
can
while
have
I'm
Charles.
moving, you say hello. Charles, you come on this side over here, okay? Let me just get up.
Okay. Very excited to have Charles on. I'm very excited to see what kind of a PBS special he'll put together. All right. Without further ado, we've got lots of people in the house. Very nice to see. So this is Charles Marsala. You can get more Sicilian than that, right?
Marsala is a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful name. And before we start about some of your work, so did I get it right? The American
That's exactly,
Italian
yes.
Federation of the Southeast, and you're the president. And you're here doing some videoing and so forth. Before we get into all of this, let's talk about your Sicilian roots.
Okay.
So your grandparents,
Great
great-grandparents came from the Shuffaloo area,
Yes.
as well as where?
Piana di Albanese and Vigori, Kakama, and Bisakina.
And I got to tell you guys, so he's been doing a lot of work promoting the Sicilian culture and lots of other things in New Orleans. And this is his first time in Sicily. What?
I know.
What? He told me that today. It's his first time in Sicily.
But I want you to know that I was in California, which has a lot of Italians in California. And I was mayor of a town out there. And I used to have every summer a San Gennaro festival in my backyard with 500
And you've
people.
been all over Italy. I'm just
Yeah, I
giving you
know.
a hard time.
I
So
know, but I
you're
just
here
want you to
now
know.
only a couple of days. He just landed. I already took him to Acitrezza to have his first cornita because you have to do that when you're
Yes.
here. So far, you've been all over Italy. So far, how has Sicily struck you?
Well, just as I watch you guys do your intro and talking about your tour, I'm trying to figure out how I make the tour because I've heard about the Noto flowers. I've heard so much about these other places I have to see. Sicily is a place where you could spend years, because it is. There's so much to see. It's at every little stop. So much history to research, but so much beauty and food to enjoy. It's a all senses come in.
I say that all the time. It's an explosion for the senses to come here to Sicily. And you haven't gone to your ancestral hometowns yet, right?
That'll be in a few days.
In a few days. That's going to be very fun. Now, I want to ask you about some of the works. One of the things, as I mentioned, you guys, was he interviewed us about Salvatore Catalano, who was a hero during the Barbary raids. He was really helped the United States of America destroy the Philadelphia, which was a huge feat, a huge undertaking. But your interest really lies in telling the stories, like us, of the untold stories of the heroes of Sicily. How did you begin this?
You know, when my grandfathers passed away, they were part of Little Italy of Monroe, Louisiana, which you wouldn't think even existed. But I remember they demolished it in the late 1960s to put up a civic center. And I thought somebody needs to tell the story of my grandparents. But then it became their parents, and then it became their parents. So I started getting this interest, and then it just kept growing where things happened. And I know you talked about your friend, Michael Santo, who's my friend. I got a call from Michael Santo that he needed help in New Orleans about the lynching situation.
This is the apology from we're back. Can you guys see and hear us okay? Let me see here. Alfred, did you take? No, you didn't take the phone. All right, you guys stand by over here. We're going to try and figure out a little bit of an internet problem here. Let us know if you guys can see and hear us. All right, so go ahead.
Okay, so you know, we work in America. There's about 50 leading Italians. Michael's one of them. I'm one of them. That work together to do certain projects, whether it's Saving Columbus Day and the statues, whether it was this apology. And Mayor LaToya Cantrell stepped up to the plate. She was the first mayor out of 23 to do this apology. And it was really the Italians out of New York, with Michael leading it, that got it done for us in New Orleans.
Big deal.
Big deal.
A big deal.
Huge.
Tell us about some of the filming that you're doing there.
Well, one of the things that happened as a result of that, I report to a gentleman called Basil Russo. And Basil I'm part of, as my position, I represent our group of the states at the Conference of Presidents of Major Italian American Organizations. You can't get any more words in it than that. Okay. So anyway, we were in Rome last week. We had meetings at the Vatican with Parliament, the Supreme Court, and
Huge.
education.
You had a meeting with Sergio Mattarella, who's a
Yes.
Sicilian. He's the president of the Republic. You also had several other very important meetings. And you just told me a big thing that the Italian government is going to do in 2024.
Yes. Roots tourism is what it's called. So we want to really promote what you guys are already doing. Now the government's realizing this is a great thing and we need to do it. But in New Orleans, we have a library, a genealogy library, where people could do a lot of the research. And we're finding that people were happy to post on Facebook that they went to Sala Peruta, which I also forgot. I have family from Sala Peruta as well. That wherever they were going, and then they were meeting their family. So I came here, and actually Sunday night I had dinner with my cousin, who
First time you met.
first time I met her, and her.
How was that?
We had the best meeting.
But how was finally seeing her? I know you guys have been in communication.
She was waiting for me at the airport when I got off, and I saw her, and she was at the gate, and it would almost be like getting off the boat. You know, I can't, because there she was, and I saw Pia, and it was just this amazing connection, and we had a meal together, and we laughed, and we told stories, and her great grandmother stayed, and my great grandmother were sisters, left and went to New Orleans. So we were descendants of the same great grandmother.
Wow. Lots of people went to New Orleans from this area.
60,000.
That's remarkable.
And they went to work on the plantations, the railroads, and the docks of New Orleans. And that's where the lynching takes place. But they were being successful. I want to add one thing. The guy that they were after, he had the contract, the Sicilian did, for unloading the ships. And the angles, I made a movie about this. It came in second in the NIAF film competition last year. And it's on the fact that they never looked at the Americans that could have been responsible for killing them. So I identified 6 people of interest. And we showed how they had motive to kill them, and why the Italians were innocent. It wasn't just like in New Orleans, we heard this phrase, who killed a chief? And growing up, you were always insulted because they're like, hey, we know you did it, you got off. And they would see you down the street and they go, hey, Carlo, who killed a chief? And it was an insult. So I wanted to solve that. So if somebody says, who killed a chief? You say, oh, it was James Houston. It was, who it was. And we made a documentary about that. And it's an hour long. It'll be released soon.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. But you just got into the filmmaking very recently.
I did. I was doing it for my job, though. I mean, I was responsible for sales on the West Coast. So I was making some videos and I was building an e-commerce platform. So the idea that I was already working with film a little bit was there. And then I came back and took this project on to tell the story of the Sicilian migration into New Orleans. We're doing it over 4 months, a half-hour episode for 16 episodes.
Amazing.
It's been a great piece of work. We're about halfway done right now.
What is the goal of the Italian American Association of the Southeast?
Federation
of the Southeast.
We have, it was started 50 years ago. And actually my grandfather was part of the people that organized it. So it's a great honor for me when I was asked to be president of it. They had clubs scattered all around. And Italians not always don't work together well. So the idea is Joe Maselli had the idea, the vision to organize all the clubs so we would not have competing St. Joseph things at the same moment or the Italian festival the same weekend. We would try to work with each other. And we have 25 clubs in Louisiana, but we actually work with, I've been speaking in Savannah, and we have clubs in Florida as well, in Texas. We try to work with everybody to promote the heritage and make it easy for people to know what's going on. And also the Italian language we teach in New Orleans. We have other programs. So we want to let the whole organization know what's going on.
All right, let's take a few questions here. We have, let me see here. This is an interesting question. I have to disagree about the mafia bust. Italian government and mafia have been married since World War II. They are going after anyone who disagrees with government agenda. It's worth thinking about. All right, when Alfred comes back, we'll address that. Right now, I want to know if you guys have any questions for Carlos or Charles. Carlo. Is it Sicilian, though, not just Italian? Most of these immigrants were Sicilian. Yes, Sean, going to St. Louis.
New Orleans.
New Orleans,
Yeah,
excuse
yeah.
me.
So it was what they did was they had a person called a patron. When the slavery ended, the plantations needed laborers, and the railroad had actually just come into New Orleans, and it was going out to lands that normally you couldn't farm unless if they weren't on a river. So suddenly the whole state opened up, and they needed laborers, and they would send people over to the villages and say, "This plantation needs 60 workers. Who wants to go?" So when you got over there, you already had a job.
Wow.
I mean, and I did this for 40 years, from 1876 to 1924.
Paul wants to know, I'm looking forward to the documentary. Where we'll be able to find it?
My YouTube channel is Awe News, AWE News. We hope to work with maybe national PBS to show it nationally, at least in local markets as well. So we'll have it on our channel after we release it. We have 2 more edits we want to do because there was 2 scenes that we rushed to get done, and with COVID we couldn't do the filming the way I wanted. So we're going to redo those.
You're a perfectionist like me. Sherry says, ciao from Loveland, Colorado. August is coming fast. It's really going to happen. My sister and I are coming, been waiting for years. That is wonderful. Sean Lewis, what would you like to hear Alfred say? We're going to have Alfred back in just a few minutes. Okay, so we've got lots of people. Okay, it did freeze for 30 seconds, but we're back. So that's good to hear. Okay, so let me ask you this. What are some of the things that you hope to take from here, besides the videos, to bring back to this federation? What kind of projects are you looking to do?
There's 2 things. We obviously, you and I, we talked about the Salvador Catalano project.
Yes.
Another thing of mine is my family, like I said, there's one of them is from Sala Peruta, and Louis Prima is from Sala Peruta. And so is Nick LaRocca from Sala Peruta. And Nick LaRocca was the first person to record jazz. So I found out his dad brought his cornet over with him in 1876. And I want to really find out what type of music Sicilians were playing when in the 1800s, because the second line march of our funerals is like the dirge, if I'm saying that correctly, of Sicily. Yeah. Then I think that Sicilians actually brought jazz with them to America. And
that's such an interesting concept.
I saw somebody is from Colorado, but many when that lynching happened, the Sicilians got out of New Orleans as fast as could be. Many went to Colorado. So they spread out, and if they had their instruments with them and were already playing it in the 1880s, jazz doesn't get credit to being founded around after 1900.
That is a fascinating concept. I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more. I want to ask you something real quick. Let me just ask. I've seen most of his videos, and we love them, specifically the old ones on the Santa Rosalia Festival in New Orleans.
Yes, we have done. I said we have done, say, 4 videos an episode. We've already done 8 episodes, so we've already done 32 videos.
Wow.
And I do a show with Lena Prima called Bonacera, Louisiana. Lena is Louis' daughter, and when we do that, we've done 16 episodes of that. So thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
What do you feel is the lesson of the New Orleans lynching? Excellent question.
One of the big lessons for us was the who killed the chief, that you can be acquitted and still pay the price. And we feel like in New Orleans, we're now, there's no markers at all that say that there was ever a little Palermo there, that the Sicilians, we actually brought in pasta. Progresso Soups was started in New Orleans by Sicilians there, luxury pasta. So the inventions that came out of New Orleans that the Sicilians did, we're getting no credit. So for us, the lesson, I believe, is that we need to, just like with Salvador Catalano, we should own the contributions that we've made. And we are really trying. We have 11 markers approved by the state of Louisiana on contributions. So we want people to know about that and be proud. We have a tour app. It's free, called Little Palermo, that we've done. It's on. We have an app, and on the App Store you can download it. Go to New Orleans Insider Tours, and Little
Very
Palermo.
cool.
It's free. It's got 60 points of interest in the French Quarter.
Very cool. Such a great point. Sicilian music, very jazzy and improvisation. Why can I say this word? Improvisational. There's one more question. I have Jardini and Liberto relatives that were in New Orleans early on. Can your organization help me locate them?
Absolutely. We have a great in the library, the public library of Jefferson Parish, which is next to Orleans. We have probably 3,000 square feet of documents.
Wow.
And we have a great genealogy department there. So if you reach out to us, happy to help you. And I want to go back to one question. The best thing that came out of that are the lessons. In New Orleans, it was faith, family, and hard work.
Bravo.
So when those people, what they did, and one of our episodes is going to be just on this. The lynching was 1891. 1890s, we also had yellow fever. Mother Cabrini shows up. There's many orphans from the yellow fever killing people. 1893, a hurricane killed 500 Sicilians that became fishermen on the Gulf Coast. 1897, they started they put a tariff on pasta imports because they were getting everybody, they were selling so much pasta that they were importing. So they got their own factories. They opened up 11 pasta factories. The perseverance of these people, of our ancestors, unbelievable.
Amen. Amen. I have one more question here for you. I have a question about processions. Is there a way we can work with the local Catholic churches in Houston, New Orleans to bring back our processions with the help of the Italian and Sicilian orgs?
I'd be happy to work with that. Obviously, reach out to me, contact you.
Contact me and I'll contact you. What I'll do, you guys, is I'll put his contact in the show description here on YouTube.
We have 3 processions right now going on in New Orleans, Kenner, in Covington, do processions, and we have festivals throughout the southeast part of Louisiana still going on.
I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. I have one more question, and then we'll bring Alfred back on. What are some of your best memories growing up Sicilian?
A couple of them were obviously Sunday dinners. I remember that, and when I was the oldest grandchild, my grandfather on my dad's side, we had Sunday dinner at their house. And on my mom's side, he had an Italian restaurant. So Gino's, which is my middle name, is still open in Monroe. And Gino was with the Knights of Columbus. They had an Italian hall in Monroe for St. Joseph Day. And I got to play Jesus on the St. Joseph altar one year. When my great uncle was having it, and he asked to my aunt, he said, "Are you coming up for St. Joseph Day?" And she says, "Only if you make Charles Jesus." So the family was just so tight. The weddings, there was just so much. That's why I have so much fun doing what I do right now, is that we as Italians, we just have this spirit that's wonderful.
It's contagious. I love it. I look forward to working more with you and speaking more about maybe some future collaborations. So
thank you.
So can you hear the round of applause? Great guest, says Stephanie Ramirez. Very interesting to learn of the Sicilian community in New Orleans. He was such a great guest. So thank you so much. Right. And Alfred's going to come back, and then we're going to have some vino. Actually, you know what we're going to do, you guys? I'm going to let Alfred talk for a second, and I'm going to go get some vino.
I was telling Esther, I like the whole idea of having people on, because there's literally a treasure trove of Americans of Italian and Sicilian extraction. And now what we have to do is kind of like network them together, okay? Because right now, thanks to guys like Bob DeBasio and Mr. Judge Russo and some of these other people that were beginning to contact with the Italian national government, the American Italian community is really a sleeping giant, okay? We have the power and the money to effectuate positive change here in Italy and in Sicily, but we have to get it going. I mean, we can't just have our little organizations on the corner where you guys go over there, or some people go over there to play Briscola or Siconetta, some of these card games that they play. Before we go on, though, now that Esther's returning, I would be remiss if I didn't do a shout out from my pal from Galveston, Texas, Alfio. I love that guy.
And his friend.
I have to say something.
Scoot over.
Okay. Alfio, he sends me an email. My friend from San Francisco is here, and his wife is staying with them. They're in Galveston.
Giovanni.
He is from San Vito Lo Capo, and his name is Giovanni Zocca. So I want to give a big welcome to you from Yumi in Sicily to Giovanni. And something else, Alfio. You need to call up Mr. Scandura, the mayor, and you need to tell him that our gal Stefania is going to contact him because we want to get a Sicilian project class going there in September. So can you do me a favor, make the call for me?
All right,
And
listen.
once you do it, then I will have Stefania call up.
Your
All right.
fans demand that you respond to this
My
question right here. Everyone wants to hear, and let me see if I can pull it back up. Here we go. Stephanie Ramirez. I have to disagree about the mafia bus. Italian government and mafia have been married since World War II. They are going after anyone who disagrees with government agenda. It's worth thinking about.
I wanted to respond to that.
That's why I brought it up.
All right, listen. Is there corruption at the political circles in Italy? Absolutely. There's no question about it. Okay. I'm not saying is it graft? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. But there is a growing, since the assassination of the two judges, 30 years now, there is a growing anti-mafia movement, okay, aided by the guys from the fiscal police, okay? These guys have done yeoman's work, as they say, following the money, okay? And when you follow the money, the vines wither and die. Now, I know this for a fact. In Catania, the Santa Paula gang, okay, which runs Catania, all the leadership is incarcerated, if not for life, damn near close to life, okay? So you've got lower level people around here, and every once in a while there's some guys that are here and there, but guess what? They get caught. They do get caught. The rank and file Sicilian family, mother, father, kids going to school, they have nothing to do with the mafioso. They have rejected them. How it was during the Second World War, and you have to understand that the role of the mafia during the Second World War was a lot different than it is today. 70 years back, you're thinking. Not today. Today, we have a middle class. We have an emerging middle class here. We have educated people here, and they understand what's going on. Now, that said, in the cities, the inner cities, Catania, Palermo, Siracusa, the inner cities have sections that I would consider to be no-go zones. When people tell me they're going to Catania, I tell them to be very careful which section of Catania they go to, and the same thing in Palermo. But let me say something to you. Go to New York City.
Exactly.
It's going to be, or Chicago, or Milwaukee, or any of these other places. But, you know, I'm on the ground here, and I talk to people, and I happen to know a lot of people, okay? And I know that the bad guys are getting incarcerated, and unlike the United States, the judges throw the books at them. They throw the book at them. They even have a crime here called mafia association. So if you associate with the mafia,
Stop and think about that.
You gotta go to jail for 3 to 5 years. Just associate with them.
Let me say a few things about
Sure.
this, okay? Because, you know, we talked about Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino, of course, the two judges, the heroes that 30 years ago were assassinated by the mafia. The anniversary was on May 23rd. And since then, there's been a marked difference, resistance, and people taking to the streets with Basta Mafia. Stop the speeders, stop paying the pizzo, stop associations with the mafia. My friends here in Sicily, they openly talk about the mafia. 30 years ago, that was unheard of. You wouldn't talk about the mafia. You would just go along with it. You knew it was happening. You wouldn't say anything. Now people are speaking out. When we did the video on Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino a few years ago and met some anti-mafia people who were working tirelessly to get these boys or girls or whoever off the streets, getting into programs like sailing, like music, like all types of things, just to get the muscle that you have been talking about into different programs. all of my friends, and Alfred talked about rank and file families and everyday families here in Sicily have nothing to do with the mafia. Now, having said that, the lower level mafia, so when you go, let's say, to your local pizza joint and it's free parking, there may be a guy or a gal there who's going to watch your car for you for a little bit of cashola. But that's very low level mafia. There's higher level mafia that obviously that exists in businesses and so forth. But I think Alfred, I have a question for you about that. Do you see a day when this whole idea of mafia, which by the way, you guys, has evolved over the years, because the idea of mafia here in Sicily, many historians have said, started out as, the poor helping the other poor, the uh, Robin Hood, right? The Robin Hood effect, and it evolved into this criminal effect. But do you see a time here in Sicily that the mafia would be completely eradicated?
No.
Tell me why.
Make a long
Tell
story
me why.
because it has evolved. It's not your grandfather's mafia of the pistola in the waistband any longer. Oh, there are some guys like that. Now it's the bankers. Now it's the MBA. Now it's the guys that own the hotels, that own the manufacturing companies. They've mutated. They've gone into legitimate business. See, that's how you launder money. As long, and listen to me, America, as long as the United States of America has the insatiable uh, uh, taste, appetite for things like heroin, cocaine, crystal meth, rock, and stuff, is there's a market there in the United States that is driving all sorts of crime from Mexico, from the Central America, from Mexico, and from Sicily. And also, by the way, and people don't talk about this, this was one of the real reasons we were in Afghanistan. The poppy fields where heroin and cocaine grow are in Afghanistan. They're transported to Sicily. They were transported to Sicily for refinement and sent to the United States where they were sold. Now, if the market dies, and sometimes I say, the Muslims have a good idea. You sell drugs, kill them. Right? And guess what? You don't have those types of problems in Saudi Arabia, do you?
The whole mentality. So let's stay with Sicily. Let's not, let's stay with Sicily. The whole mentality of having the mafia sort of protect your business, protect your home, oversee. Many times people said, if it wasn't for the mafia, this whole country would go, in huge disarray.
Let me tell you. Now, I want to teach everybody what they're doing now for the Pizzo, okay? Because there's so many mafioso in jail, okay? The low-end mafiosi go to a place like a pizzeria and they ask for a tax, and that tax goes to support the families of the mafia incarcerated. You understand how they've mutated that, how they've changed that? They're not saying, give me the money, I'm going to put it in my pocket. They're saying, this money that you're giving me, which is going to be about 10% of your weekly gross, is not going to me. It's going to the families of our brothers who are in prison. All right. So now this is a subtle thing the last 15 years that has, but as I said, the financial authorities aren't having any of it.
No,
they're not having any of it, and they're encouraging people to come forward, and they have been. And they have,
businesses have been standing up. All right, I want to say a big thank you to our new member here. Linda Maria became a member of our community, and if you don't know what that is, for $1.99, you just help support this channel. $1.99 a month. That's all it is. Let me read a few of these comments. I have seen videos about anti-mafia organizations, about shops that have those stickers on their windows or doors. Is that working? Are they still threatened, assaulted? Curious to have your thoughts. No, they have stayed the course. And a lot of people, a lot of businesses have even had press conferences saying, the mafia is trying to extort us and we're having nothing to do with that. And I got to tell you, that's pretty darn brave Let me tell you. Let me read a few more. Joanne, nice to see you from Connecticut.
Thanks, Joanne. Nice comment. Thank you.
A lot of people agreeing with you on that. Let's see.
About
Stephanie
what?
was the one who asked. I'm not sure the middle class anywhere is growing. Absolutely not.
Wait a minute. I want to ask Stephanie. I want to listen, Stephanie. Sicily is about 20 years behind, maybe 25 years behind the United States in terms of growth for the middle class. We already know that the population is ancient here. As I was just telling Charles, is that the population in Sicily is now that of the very young and the very old, because that critical mass that's needed to run any society goes to the mainland or goes to other EU countries because there's no jobs. This is why I've been hopping that the key to helping Sicily get back on its feet lies in the United States of America. It lies with the 12 million people of American Sicilian extraction who should do something, not just eat cannolo. They should do something. They should buy property here. They should invest in businesses here. They should vacation here. They should do a lot of things. There's many places in Sicily. If you're into charitable organizations, there's a million charities that would open you with open eyes. We Esther and I found Father Mario in Catania, who has a little tiny church right in the heart of Mafiaville, so to speak. And guess what? We do everything we can to support him. When we have an extra €1,000, or when somebody donates money, right? Guess where it goes? It goes right to Father Mario so he can build the walls, buy the speakers,
put in the lights,
feed the people for Christmas or for Easter. I mean,
and it's
this
one
is
of the
what
ways
the Americans
that we
can do.
Give back to Sicily, because Sicily has given us so much.
Now, wait a minute. I have one more thought. Let me just finish it before.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, here's the second thing. For all these organizations, these Italian American organizations,
like
you see,
Charles,
what they have to do, okay, instead of just wearing their sashes and having photo ops with the big shots, what they have to do is they have to put political pressure on the big shots. They have to say, look it, if you don't do something about getting American involvement, we're going to find a political candidate in Italy that's gonna, or we're going to find a party that's going to do it. Because right now, not too many Americans know about the political structures in Italy.
Which is very
We could become the most important lobbying group that Italy has if we just get our heads out of the cannolo and not think about the cannolo. Think about Italy and its people and Sicily. And if we can kind of like band together, and maybe some youngster comes along who hears what I'm saying and says, you want to know something? That guy Zappler over there and Esther, they're fighting a good fight over there. We're going to do something. We're going to find some organizations in Sicily. Now, I had one of the biggest organizations in the United States of America a couple of years ago, okay, national organization. And I spoke to the president. I said, you guys don't do, I said to him, you guys don't do jack shit for Italy or Sicily. What's up with that? And he had the guts to tell me, oh, no, our function is to promote Italy in the United States. I says, no, that's not your function. Your function is to promote Italy for the Italians. All right. And that's really, I think a lot of the big shots in the United States with these organizations, guys like Mike Santos, who's a hero. All right. Mike's a good pal of mine. He's the guy that he freaking almost grabbed those people in Louisiana by the throat and made them apologize. And the same thing, he's a warrior. We need warriors. But we also need warriors now. Stop it with me. I'm too old. We need warriors to go to the government and say, why is it taking 5 years for someone who wants to become a citizen by blood to get recognized from the United States? These people have $500,000, $1 million in the bank. They want to buy a house in Italy, and you're dicking them around.
Honey, take a breath. Take a breath.
That's all my
rant. Just stop with the rant. Oh my God, just stop. Listen,
I've only had half a drink too. I've only had half a drink.
He's only had half a drink. But today's rant has been brought to you by Absolute Vodka. really good for your health. You know, they should sponsor us. What the
Just
heck?
having fun, Esther. We're just
I know. All
having
right, stop the rant.
fun.
So in any case, I want to say that the group that Charles went with, along with some of our other friends, that was one of the key points. And I know this for a fact that they want to expedite the citizenship. Anyway, there's a lot of work to do. We need your support, you guys, to get Sicily back on its feet. And let me read this now, just to
I'm not going to say
switch
a
a
word.
little bit over here. Al or Esther, can you recommend a white wine from Sicily that is available in the USA? And both would be, I can help you with that. www.winesfromitaly.com. Ciao Daniel is the owner. I'm going to have a video on wines, Etna wines, in just a little bit, but he's got a great collection of wines from Sicily. Specifically, tell him we sent you. Winesfromitaly.com. Winesfromitaly.com. All right. I want to take a couple more questions, and then I want to move on because we've been talking for now over almost 2 hours. Okay, they're cheering you on. I'm not going to let you cheer.
What?
Linda, buongiorno. I just joined. Love you back and forth. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see here.
Look at Stephanie says, tell him out. I love it.
know
I
it.
love it.
I got to let him, like every video, he's allowed 3 to 5 minutes rant, and then he has to take a breath.
They're not
then-
rants.
All right. When I lived there was a young couple who wanted to open a restaurant in the mid-90s. The local mafia forced them out. 2 years later, after a large local arrest of local mafia, I don't know the rest of that, but I hope they did get it done. Okay. So that's about it.
Stephanie,
Where do I
agrees with
join?
me.
It doesn't show up. Okay. So let me tell you, Joanne, when you go to our YouTube after we finish here, and under one of our videos, under subscribe, it says join. So hit the join button, and that'll help you. And it's also in the show descriptions.
Curious thought.
there.
Somebody had a
All right,
curious
curious thought. Once you have dual citizenship in Italy, are you then allowed to vote there?
Yes, from the United States. But you know what they did? You know what they did? We used to have representatives in the United States that were in the Italian Senate. About 5 years ago, they stopped that nonsense. So now you could run for office, but you can't run as an American running for office. You'd have to join a party over here,
Of
maybe
course, you
back
have
in
to
your
be-
comune and join over
I
here.
got to tell you, it's so interesting, because right now is election time here
It's
in
crazy
Sicily,
here.
and all the mayors are running, and there's posters everywhere, and there's cars with loudspeakers with doing advertisement. Our friend Salvo over there by Fruit Family, his uncle stopped by and had a big meet and greet. So it's very interesting to witness how the Italian election comes. And as you guys know, here, the parties rule. So if you are part of the dominant party, then you're more likely to win. It's kind of a crazy thing. I love it when Alfred gets fired up. Life is precious.
Thank you, Stephanie.
On that note, we said our things. I want to say a big thank you to Carlos Marsala for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you just joining us, make sure you go to the beginning of this video and check out the entire interview. He was a great guest, full of some great information. And on that note, thank you guys for spending this little time here with us. We really appreciate it. We'll be back to you on Sunday. And honey, ching ching.
Can I say Sebenediga? Grazie per tutti ora. Okay, now I'll say chin chin.
Ching ching.
Love you.
Ciao.
Ciao, guys.
Arrivederci. See you Sunday.